welcome to our chair yoga class. It's part of our Grow with Go series. I always get tripped up on that. It's like a tongue twister. Grow with Go, part of our Grow with Go series. Before we get moving, just a quick reminder of what else GoGo offers. So in addition to these classes, you can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services, all by calling one phone number, and that phone number is 1-855-464-6872. Also, a reminder that we have a referral code at the bottom of your GoGo receipts. So if you give that code to a friend, once they've taken their first service with GoGo, you will both then receive $10 in credit. Reminder that we have a Facebook group. So if you ever want to connect online, you can find us on Facebook, and we'll share a link in the chat so that you can easily find our page. And then finally, to the meat of our program, if we haven't met, I'm Adra. I teach the yoga and the functional fitness classes here at GoGo. No move of the week because we are Friday. But what do you need today? You need a chair. So our chair yoga class is primarily seated. Functional fitness is primarily standing, but today is primarily seated. I like a chair without armrests just because it gives me a little bit more space to move, and a chair that doesn't roll. But you know what? Use what you have. If all you have is an office chair, that's fine, or that's where your computer is, that's fine. Just something to sit on that's not on the ground. With that, I will stop sharing my screen. Oh, nice. Now I can see a lot more of you. And we will begin. So my screen should be nice and big for you. If it is not, you can adjust your settings by bringing your cursor to the top right-hand corner of your, sorry, just moving my mic. Bringing your cursor to the top right-hand corner of your Zoom screen, and a little box will pop up that says View. If you pick Speaker View, you'll see me nice and big. If you pick Gallery View, you'll see everybody else. So know that you can adjust that. All right, find your seat. Go ahead and just rock a little side to side. Just settling in, feeling those sits bones grounded. And then pausing in the middle, feeling both sits bones on your chair. Keeping them grounded, go ahead and circle your torso one direction. Just waking up the body, finding a little movement, noticing any aches, any areas that feel nice. Go ahead and circle the other way. And make your way back to center. We'll inhale, pull the chest forward and the elbows back, lifting the chin, lifting the sternum. And then exhale, curl your spine and round the back, tucking your tail. So we'll do that a few times. Inhale, chest forward, tail back. Exhale, curl and round. Keep going at your own pace. So don't worry about my speed or anybody else's. Move at your own pace. And go ahead and find center, sitting nice and tall. Let the hands rest anywhere on your lap or on your armrests, and close the eyes. If you don't want to close your eyes, you can soften your gaze towards the ground. We'll just take a few moments to tune into the body, allow the body and the mind to quiet. So we can begin this quieting by noticing your breath. So without necessarily changing anything, bringing your awareness to your breathing. Notice the speed of your breath. Notice where you feel the breath in the body. Do you feel the movement of the breath in and out of the nostrils? Can you feel movement in the chest and rib cage? Do you feel movement in your abdomen? Do you feel movement in the back or in the shoulders? So just noticing wherever you feel the breath in your body. And then if it's comfortable, allow your breath to slow down and deepen just a little bit. Allow the breath to fully fill the container of your torso. Feeling that the breath can reach all the corners and the edges inside of the lungs. Our lungs live within our rib cage, and they can expand by the diaphragm moving down, our primary breathing muscle, which is at the bottom of the rib cage. The lungs also expand by the movement of the ribs moving out to the side, forward, back, and up. So there's this 360-degree expansion as you inhale, and a 360-degree softening or contraction, narrowing as you exhale. Maybe you can perceive it, maybe you can't. Just notice. From this space of quiet, take a moment to set an intention for your practice. Maybe noting what's brought you to class today. Maybe there's something you'd like to honor or cultivate. Go ahead and set that for yourself now. Take a deep inhale through the nose, fill the lungs. And then exhale out the mouth, let it go. One more time, deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth, let it go. Now feel free to keep your eyes closed or allow the eyes to open. We'll begin to rotate the head. So gently looking right and left, turning the head right and left, like you're shaking the head, no. Just noticing any tension, noticing the range of motion that you have. And then nodding the head, yes, looking up and down. Noticing any tension. And back to center. We'll bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. I'm mirroring you. Side stretch of the neck. Pause for a moment. And then other ear to shoulder. And back to center. We're going to go to the first side and add on. So we're going to bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. Again, it's totally fine for there to be space. In fact, there should be space between your ear and shoulder. So the shoulder is not up. Shoulders are relaxed. So right ear towards the right shoulder. And then we'll take that left hand and bring that arm back. So you're going to bring the arm back and the shoulder back. So you're almost squeezing that shoulder blade towards the spine. And that'll just change the stretch a little bit. Palm can face whatever direction feels interesting, as long as it feels safe. So no need to overstretch. You don't want to make it too intense. Then back to center. Then we go to the other side. So other ear to shoulder. The shoulders are relaxed, so they're not up. And then that right hand is going to go down and back. And you're moving not just the arm, but you're also squeezing the shoulder blade down and back as well. And just noticing where that moves the stretch. And then bringing your head back to center, releasing the arm. Let's go ahead and do some circles with the wrists. Doesn't really matter the direction. I'm going outward, but you could do two one direction or go inward to start. Doesn't matter. And circle the other way. And then interlace your fingers and push your palms forward, stretching those forearms and the hands, letting those shoulders drop away from the ears. Hands can also be a little lower if that's more comfortable on the body. If it's possible, those elbows are straight. 3 breaths. Releasing those arms. And let's find cactus arms for a moment. So elbows are bent 90 degrees. We're moving into eagle arms from here. So I'll mirror you. You'll bring the arms forward and then we'll bring the right elbow over the left and hook the elbows. I know I'm wearing a black shirt, so that's kind of hard to see, but elbows, maybe if I go at a diagonal. Right elbow goes above, we hook the elbows. Hands can be separated or hands can touch. So hands separated or touching. Another option would be to hold on to your shoulders. So we have 3 options: hands touch, hands separate, hold on to the shoulders, whatever you'd like. We'll hold for 3 breaths. Thinking about breathing into your shoulder blades or into your back body between the shoulder blades. Then releasing the arms and we'll switch. So other elbow on top, I'm mirroring you. Left elbow goes above the right, and then we hook those elbows together. Either the hands are separated, they're touching, or you're hugging your shoulders. Really doesn't matter. It's what feels good. What feels good for you today on this side. And again, just a couple of deep breaths here. And release those arms. You can shake them off. Let's go ahead and rotate the spine, twist one direction. It doesn't matter which way you go. So twist one direction. Hands can rest outside of your leg and outside of the chair, and we'll hold the twist. Taking a few breaths here, noticing where you feel your breath when you're twisted. And then twist the other way. So unwind and then twist the other direction. Hands go outside of your leg and chair. And again, noticing where your breath goes when you're rotated. And back to center. Let's inhale, open up the arms and lift the chest, stretch the front of the body, stretch the chest. Then exhale, round your back, tuck your tail and give yourself a hug, wrapping those arms around your shoulders. Inhale, open up the arms, chest lifts, fingers reach back. Exhale, round. Maybe the other arm goes on top, so maybe you keep alternating. Inhale as you open. And exhale as you flex the spine. Keep going at your own pace. So don't worry about my speed or anybody else's. Move with your breath. Bring yourself back to center. And let's reach those arms up towards the ceiling. I'm going to mirror you. So we're going to grab the right wrist with the left hand. So the left hand wraps around the right wrist and we side bend to the left. So we're stretching that entire right side body. Couple of breaths there. Bring yourself back to center and we switch. So now we hold on to the left wrist with the right hand. However you want to grab is fine. And then we side bend to the right, stretching that entire left side body. And bring yourself back to center, releasing the arms down. Let's do some shoulder rolls forward. And some shoulder rolls back. Letting those shoulders soften and relax, we'll move our attention to our feet. Let's move into some heel raises here. So toes stay down, ball of the foot stays down. So the front third of the foot stays on the ground as you start to move through these heel lifts. So moving through the ankle and the foot. This can be hard if you're wearing sneakers, so you might choose to take off your shoes. Just moving, feeling the calf working, noticing if your ankle likes to go out to the side like that. We're trying not to do that. We really want to keep that heel line in line with the toes. I'm just going to give you a little side view as well. So we're just lifting one heel and then the other. You can continue like this, or you're welcome to move through some marching, lifting the foot completely off the ground. Now, if you are going into marching, you're trying to keep your upper body relatively stable and just moving that thigh bone in the hip socket and moving through the foot as well. It can be fun to try and point that foot as you march. So the toes point down towards the ground. And you really roll through that entire foot as you come down. All right, and then letting that go for a moment. We're going to move into an ankle stretch, front of the ankle. This will also be helpful if you're not wearing shoes. And again, if you don't want to take off your shoes, it's not a big deal. We're only doing this for a few moments. We're going to try and stretch the front of the ankle. So I'm going to start with my left leg just because you'll be able to see it the most clearly. So we're going to bring the left foot back and point the foot. So what I've done here is the top of the toes, so the toenails are what are reaching towards the ground. Now, everybody is different in their flexibility in the ankle, so be really gentle with yourself. You don't need to make this super intense. I have pretty flexible ankles, so I can really point my foot a lot, but some of you, it might be a little bit less. So just be kind to yourself. We're looking for a stretch here at the front of the shin and the top of the foot. So the toenails are what's on the ground. And depending on your chair, you might be able to bring your foot back. So for me, that's a lot less intense, actually. There's less pressure on my toes to bring the leg further back, but it just depends on your setup. So know that the foot can be further forward, just slightly back. Also, if you're sitting really far back in the chair, that can reduce some of the pressure. But if you're forward, you have maybe a little more freedom to move your foot into different positions. All right, let's bring that foot down. Pause, just notice the difference, right to left, and we'll go to the other leg. So pointing the foot, top of the toes, so toenails or top of the foot on the ground, or trying to reach the ground. Everyone has different flexibility, so you might not actually reach the ground, but you're going in that direction. We're trying to stretch out the top of the foot, the ankle, top of the, or the front of the shin or the shin. Again, your leg can be further back or forward. You can also play with where you are sitting in your chair, and that will change the stretch. Another thing to note is what your heel is doing. Is your heel splaying out to the side? I'll give you a little front view of what that might look like. So here's my heel at center, and then that's my heel out to the side. Nothing wrong with it. Just notice, is that happening? What does that do to the stretch? Are you avoiding the stretch by going to the side, or does that give you a better stretch? Let's bring the foot down. Pause for a moment. We're going to do that one more time each side, not for quite as long. So first side, point the foot, top of the toes down. Maybe 3 or 4 breaths. Notice if your heel is out to the side and if that gives you a better stretch or a worse stretch, or if it's more centered. Bring the foot down, and we switch. Other leg goes back, pointed foot, top of the toes down. Again, noticing whether your heel is out or centered. If your foot cramps, just bring the foot out and then come back. That happens. And then bring your leg back to center. All right, let's stretch that right leg forward in front of us. So right leg is straight. Now our toes are facing up towards the ceiling with the flexed foot or a dorsiflexed foot. We're going to keep moving through the ankle, so keep working through the foot. We'll point the toes, so toes come down towards the ground, and then flex the foot, toes up towards the ceiling. So pointing and flexing the foot, really working through that foot today. Noticing any pops and cracks, totally fine. As long as they're pain-free. The next time the toes are facing up towards the ceiling, we'll pause. Inhale, lean forward. Feel more stretch along the back of your leg as you lean forward. And then exhale, sit tall, back away from the stretch. Inhale, leaning forward, feeling your stretch. Exhale, sitting tall. Keep going at your own pace. And then find a position where you'd like to hold the stretch. So you could stay upright or you can lean forward and go ahead and hold the stretch for several breaths. If you're leaning forward and you're feeling quite stretchy today, you can always bring your forearm down to your thigh to give you a little bit more stretch to get a little closer to the leg. Keeping the foot flexed if possible, so those toes are still reaching up towards the ceiling. Smooth breath. Lift yourself back up. Rebend that right knee. Windshield wiper the knee side to side, or just let them sway. Shake it off. And we'll try out the other side. So left leg straightens, or whichever leg you haven't done. We're going to point and flex through that left ankle and foot. So the toes point up towards the ceiling, feeling a stretch in the back of the lower leg, and then toes come down towards the ground. Next time your toes are up towards the ceiling, we'll pause. Inhale, lean forward, feel the stretch intensify. And then exhale, sit tall, back away from the stretch. Keep going, forward and back at your own pace. And then find a place where you'd like to hold the stretch. So that could be sitting tall or leaning forward or bringing your forearm to your leg. Several deep breaths. Try and maintain some length here in your spine as you find the stretch, instead of really curling and rounding the back. Lift your torso up, rebend the knee, windshield wiper those knees side to side. All right, we're going to move into our standing portion of class. We only stand for about 5 minutes or even less than that. So if you don't want to stand, stay in your chair, do a few movements, a few stretches in your chair, and we'll be joining you shortly. If you are up for standing, go ahead and come on up and make your way to some sort of support. So you can find a wall, a table, or get behind your chair. So whatever works. You don't need to move your chair. I'm just moving it and I'm getting it behind it sideways so you can see me. You can keep facing your screen. So no need to adjust your chair position unless you want to. So holding onto the chair, we'll step the right leg back behind us, anywhere from 1 to 3 feet back. And go ahead and bend that front knee. So front knee is bent and back leg is straight. All 10 toes face forward. Today we're going to play with that back heel. We really worked through our ankles today. And so we'll lift the back heel off the ground so the toes are down, and then bring the heel back down. So we're just going to lift and lower that back heel if that is accessible to you. If it's not, just stay in stillness with the heel down. Otherwise, you're lifting the heel up, lowering it down, lifting the heel up and lowering it down. So you might feel a stretch as the heel comes down towards the ground. You might feel a little calf work as your heel lifts, or a different kind of stretch. All right, next time the heel is down, we'll pause, hold for an extra breath or two. And then we'll switch sides. Step that right foot forward. We'll take the left leg back. Left foot steps back anywhere from 1 to 3 feet back. All 10 toes face forward. That front knee is bent and the back leg is straight. We're moving through that back ankle. So we'll lift the back heel off the ground and lower it back down. So up and down at your own pace. Feeling free to adjust your stance as needed so you feel steady and balanced. Next time your heel is down, go ahead and pause and we'll hold a few breaths. And then stepping forward, back foot meets the front. Hands stay on your chair or table or against the wall about belly button height. We're going into an upside down L position. So you'll start to walk your feet back, bringing your torso towards parallel to the earth. Knees can be bent here. So I want the primary focus here to be your upper body. So if your hamstrings are feeling tight, let those knees bend, but really focus on trying to find length here along the side of the body and between the torso and the arms. So we're trying to find that position where the arms can be by your ears so that they're directly overhead. Of course, if that's too much, you can be slightly lifted. So find what works for you. A couple more deep breaths. And then lift the torso up, walk yourself forward. All right, just one more, well, it's two more stretches because it's a two-sided stretch, but one more stretch in general. You're gonna have your left hand, so I'm gonna mirror you if you're moving your chair this way. If your chair is forward, you would be sideways, but that will be really hard for you to see what I'm doing. So left hand on the chair, right arm up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to cross the leg that is closest to the chair in front of the other leg. And then side bend. So left hand on the chair, left leg crosses in front of the right leg, right arm reaches up and over. If that's too complicated, just side bend, totally fine. Don't stress about it, don't worry about it so much. Come on up. For you, you would just turn around. I'm gonna move my chair just so that you can still hear my voice, but you can just turn around. So now right hand on the chair, right leg is the one that crosses over. Left arm goes up and over. Just side stretching towards the chair. The leg that is initially closest to the chair crosses in front. And come on up. Whew. Shake it off and let's come back down to our seats. Let's take those legs out wide once you find your seat. Depending on your chair, you might need to scooch forward towards the front edge or scooch back towards the back of the chair. So whatever works for you. We're gonna work a little shoulder and torso movement here. So not what we usually do. Usually we do side stretching here, but we've already done a lot of side stretching. So once you find your nice wide position, you're going to lean forward and let your hands rest anywhere on your legs. Let those shoulders creep up towards the ears. I'm going to give you a side view here for a moment just so that you can see that I am forward. I'm not totally upright. Otherwise, you won't get the same benefit. So let yourself lean a little bit forward if that's accessible. And then drop your left shoulder forward and rotate your spine a little bit. So as the left shoulder drops, you're twisting a little to the right. Pause for a moment. And then switch sides. Other shoulder drops forward, twist. So right shoulder drops forward, rotate a little to the left. Let's do one more time each side. First shoulder drops forward, little twist. And second shoulder drops forward, twist. Back to center. Lift the torso, bring those legs back towards each other. We're going to finish up with a figure four or a variation of that. So lots of options. Right ankle can cross over the left and allow that right knee to open out to the side. So if you're doing that variation, really let that knee open out to the side. Another option would be to cross your legs. That'll move the stretch to a slightly different spot, but that's okay. That's an option. Third option is to cross your right ankle over your left thigh, flexing this foot. So making sure that ankle is nice and active. If this is feeling a little uncomfortable, but you feel like you really, really want to do it, you can sit up onto some pillows or find a higher chair. Or sometimes the armrest of your couch is the right height, so you could try that as well. It's okay for your knee to be up higher. I want to encourage you to try and sit as tall as you can here. Because in fact, as we sit tall, you'll get more stretch. So thinking about reaching your tailbone towards the wall behind you. We're almost trying to do something called an anterior tilt of the pelvis. We're just reaching that tail towards the wall behind you to help you sit a little taller. Holding the stretch in whatever position you'd like. So you can do that ankle cross, thigh cross, or ankle over thigh. You can also play with where your torso is. So you can lean to one side or another, or forward or back to find the right stretch. So for me today, leaning away from that crossed leg gives me a better stretch. But every day is different. So find what works for you today, and we'll take about 5 breaths. And come on up, undo your legs, shake them off. And we'll go to the other side. So left ankle crosses over the right, let the knee open wide. That's option 1. Great option. Option 2, thighs cross over. Ooh, that feels tight for me today. That'll move the stretch somewhere else. Option 3, cross your ankle over your thigh, knee goes out to the side or slightly up. Again, all those same options apply. You can sit up onto something taller, find a different chair, knee can be higher, no problem. If you can, with whichever variation you're in, you're trying to sit as tall as you can, almost trying to reach your tailbone towards the wall behind you instead of letting that tail tuck under you. And then feel free, once you've found a nice spot, feel free to explore a little further. Lean forward, lean to one side, lean back, and see if there's a better spot for you to be in to hold this stretch. So for me on this side, it's not just leaning away. I'm not only leaning away from my leg, but I'm also leaning slightly back. All right, so each side is unique. Your body is unique, so you might need to adjust the stretch in a different way. The habits and the movements we do throughout the day really shape our body. And so then when we stretch, we all need different stretches because we sit in our favorite chairs in different ways. We walk through our lives in different ways. And so we all need our own unique stretches. So feeling free to really explore so that you find that stretch that works for you. A few more breaths. Lift yourself up. Undo those legs, shake them off. All right, we'll take 2 minutes now to settle in and have our final meditation. So finding your seat, you can scooch forward or back. Let your arms rest wherever is comfortable. Allow your eyes to close or soften to the ground. And tune into your breathing. Feeling the natural flow of the breath in and out. Tune into your body, noticing how the body is feeling. And then bring the palms to touch in front of your heart. Check in with your intention if you set one. Just acknowledge it. And then take a moment to thank yourself for taking time to take care of your mind and your body. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth, let it go. Namaste. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. It's a pleasure, as always. We have a couple of minutes now if anyone has questions. Questions about class, not questions that are go-go related. If they're go-go related questions, I don't usually know the answer to them. And you can email GoGo. While you think about potential questions, we are taking the 25th off, the week that has the 25th and the week that has, I'm pulling up my phone so I can give you the exact dates, and the week that has New Year's. So there's no class, so you can go to our videos instead. There will be, so next week, normal. Then there's no class on the 25th, no class on the 27th, no class on the 1st, and no class on the 3rd. But you'll be emailed this information as well. And then I'll leave it open to you if you have any questions or thoughts or feelings.
Adria Ross here. I always got something. um, Most of your exercises, it seems like when you compress, like you bend down towards your knees, you exhale, I thought. And then one of these you said to inhale. So I didn't know. It seemed kind of awkward that I'm compressing, my lung section, whenever I go down and meet my chin to my knees practically. And yet I think you said inhale. And I was like, well, that's different, and then whenever we stretch back and put our hands up in the air, you said exhale, let the air out. And normally I'm thinking that's where I'm letting the air in. And then whenever I bend down, I'm squeezing the air out. And the other things were seem to be the opposite. So is it really that important to pay attention to the nasal breathing in and out and with the mouth, and then whether or not it's uh, per exercise that one might be to, when I compress my chest, I'm inhaling, and another one, when I'm expanding, I'm exhaling. I mean, it's nice to feel that sensation of each one. It's kind of like putting your left shoe on instead of your right shoe first in the morning or something, different. I'll shut up. I'll let you answer because you're the pro.
Yeah, so there is no right or wrong way of doing things. And it is intuitive to inhale when we open the chest and to exhale when we contract. However, sometimes it's quite beneficial to actually do the opposite because, especially for our breathing mechanics, our entire rib cage can find expansion for our breath. And we all tend to be, I know I'm wearing dark baggy clothes, so it's not that helpful, but we tend to really be able to breathe forward here and have a really hard time breathing in to the back of the body. So sometimes it is really valuable to curve the spine, contract, and try and inhale so that we can really stretch that back of the rib cage. So both are valuable. It's good to change it up. There is no correct, in my opinion, correct way of breathing for a specific exercise, except for if you have a specific goal. So if the goal is to be able to take the biggest inhale then the chest would be forward. But if the goal is to create more stretch in a new area, then maybe actually we want to inhale when we contract. So just depends on what you're going for.
Excellent, excellent. I'll just sleep on my stomach, and then whenever I'm down like that, I'll do my breathe in and out. Well, whenever during COVID, they said that they had good good results with when they put patients on their stomachs to even when they were on the ventilators, that they did better. And so, in a way, you're working those muscles. I thought, because you're making it harder to do the breathing, just like you're describing there, and it's counterintuitive. So, hence the results in your class or in other situations there. So it's just nice to be observant of the breathing, and then especially, I was going to ask you while you were doing all this stuff, since you seem quiet. I'm always trying to see your mouth to see if you're breathing in or out or using it. And your mouth is always closed, so I go, okay, it's nasal. Where it's all in and out there, type of thing. So anyway, I should have learned this by now. I've had enough classes, I guess, but uh, it's when you're doing the exercise and doing it proper, it's hard to watch you sometimes. It's almost like I needed a screen in different locations to look at you, because then I'm out of position whenever I'm doing the exercise. So I just have to forget and just listen to your voice and do the exercise as you described it.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for sharing. And yes, just listen to the voice. Don't worry so much about doing it perfectly or doing it the way I'm doing it. Do what feels good. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
And then you can always look at the videos without doing the exercise.
That is right. You can always look at the videos and then get to do it again. Or watch, pause, do it
Yes,
again.
yes.
Alrighty, everybody. Wonderful to have you as always. Have a fantastic weekend. Hopefully I see you next week. Wednesday will be yoga, and then Friday will be functional fitness, and then we take 2 weeks off. So come enjoy class, before we take a little break.